We are going to continue with the second part of reading skills, starting from reading thoroughly. So let's understand, what does it mean to read thoroughly or reading in depth? So reading in depth means reading a text more carefully. Like just from the word deeper, you want to read it more carefully so that you are going to get a deeper and more bigger understanding of the text. So this does not mean that you have to read every word out loud or stop every time you come to a word you don't know or read so slowly. No, that's not the meaning. It does mean that you should take enough time and focus. Very important. You need to focus to make sure that you truly understand what the text is talking about. So reading in depth doesn't mean you read so slow. Every time you see a hard word, you get to check in a dictionary. Every time you see a comma, you get to pause and spend maybe 2 minutes thinking. No, you need to be focused and make sure that you get to understand what the text is about. So in-depth reading is used to gain deeper meaning and understanding of a text. Research detailed information for an assignment. Imagine an assignment is asking for you to write 200 pages, and here is a topic. You need to find out the causes of malaria, and it is 200 pages. This is why now you get to read a detailed reading or a thorough reading so that you gain deeper understanding for an assignment. And also read difficult sections of a text. There are some stories or some text where some parts are just hard, so you need to have a deeper understanding. You can be able to understand that part of a text. So there are 4 different strategies or methods that should enhance your comprehension or your understanding as you get to read. The first one is called the wrap strategy, the reader strategy. We have got 5 S's and the S, Q, and the 3 R's. So these are just letters. Wrap. We have got LAP letters there. It's not a word. And then reader. These are letters. RIDA. Okay. So wrap, reader, and then the 5 S's. And then SQ3R. So we need to know this. These are strategies that can help us to comprehend the text. Now, starting with the wrap strategy. The wrap strategy is good for text explanation and research. So here, wrap, the first R here is representing read. So a paragraph or a section is supposed to be read. So ask yourself some questions about what you have just read because you really want to understand. So put the answers in your own words and make notes. So this is now called note making. So you get to make notes after you read. Now you get to put the notes that you have before that. So the first thing that you have done is you have read. As you are reading, you are taking notes. You are taking note of important points. So that is called note taking. So you take note of every important point. After you take note of every important point, and then now you start joining these important points, that is putting them into writing. That is now called note making. So you are now making your own notes, putting them into writing so that even in future you can be able to use them. So this will be very important and it will enhance your understanding of the passage. So this method can be used whenever you are reading a difficult passage or when you find your understanding or your comprehension wandering from the passage. Like you are reading a passage and you are not getting what the passage is all about. So you can use the wrap strategy. First you read, ask yourself questions. Now put the answers of the questions you're asking yourself about from the same passage into writing. So by taking your eyes off the page and making yourself reflect on the meaning of what you have just read, you will find you can develop the ability to recall and retell yourself the information along with its relevant importance and where it fits with other information on the topic. So you get to read. Okay, you get to read about this subject. And then you try to pause, you close the book. You start thinking about what you read, if you can remember. If you can't remember, go back, you read again. So that is the first one, R of the wrap. Now let's look at A. Actually, we've even talked about everything else here. We have talked about the wrap, that is read, and then the A, that is the ask, and then the P at the end, that is now put. So that is the RAP strategy. So this is read, ask, and then put the answers in question form, a RAP strategy. So apart from the RAP strategy, we've got the reader strategy. So RIADA, these represent R read, we have got imagine, describe, and then add. So when you read a text, you are now going to imagine, you will start imagining the story. It was on one Sunday morning that I met this beautiful damsel. No sooner had I seen her than she jumped on me. So as you are reading, you are also imagining the scene. You are imagining you being the one jumped on, or you being this kind of lady who jumps on this person. And then after you do that, now you describe what you are imagining to yourself, or what you've just read, you describe it to yourself. You'll not be able to forget, especially that you get to imagine what you are reading. It will be very, very difficult to forget. After you describe it also to yourself, now you can add more details to what you have read. If the story is lacking, for example, it gets to lead you to end on a suspense. Now remember, I'm talking about a story, but here we're talking about academic reading. So you are interested in gaining information for academic purposes. So I'm now going to add more ideas from the knowledge that you already have. You just get to build on. So this strategy makes you reflect on the details about place, people, action, and events, and create a picture based on the words and style of language used by the author. So you can note which imagery as the most powerful effect and add your reactions in the form of margin notes. So any imagination, which of the imaginations you're imagining from the passage that you've read has the most powerful effect. In other words, you're going now to understand the point of concentration of the passage after you do that. And that is very, very important. And apart from the upload and the reader method, we also have the 5S's. So the 5S, we have got skim, scan, select, slap, summarize. We already know what skim is. To skim is to just get to understand or read if you can be interested in reading the whole passage. So you read the introduction, the summary, the first and last sentence of each paragraph. Now to scan, you are looking for specific information. Where is the information on? So you are looking for the information on, you are going to put yourself the information that you want for. Maybe the information on effects, the information on causes, the information on importance. So that is to scan. You are looking for such sections. After you do that, now you select. So first scheme had to do with you just having a broad understanding so that you can be able to know if you are going to select a text. Well, that's not surveying. Surveying is a bit in detail. And then you scan, you look for specific information. When you find those specific information, you are now going to select. You are going to now answer yourself whether you need to read the entire chapter or select only the sections that you know more about or what you are interested in reading. After selecting, then comes the slap. So you read in depth now and more slowly selected sections. Those sections you have selected maybe on causes or maybe effects, you now read them in depth. That is now the slap. Can you tell yourself about this concept now? Read again if necessary. So you can read again if you've tried to forget. If the important selections you made, you've read them in the slap and you've still forgotten, you can read again to see if you can remember. And then now after reading the entire of it, you need to summarize what you've read. So use a map or even keywords, index cards, a question as a framework for some notes. Take no more than 10 minutes. You just get to summarize what you've just read. So that is skim, scan, select, slap, summarize. To understand this, just need to know that you first need to look at the general, where you just get to gain interest whether you read the whole passage, not really the whole passage, but you are just going through to the many points to understand whether you're going to like it. That is a scheme, or whether you're going to gain interest in reading the whole of it. After then, you now look for specific information, scan. You now select which information you want to concentrate on. Now you read the information more carefully, then summarize. So that is the 5S's. So now I remain with SQ3R. So on the SQ3R, the SQ3R method of study reading is one of the core activities of study. So these are part of the study activities. So you need to be able to understand what you read and to be able to recall the many ideas when you need them. So you can use the SQ3R method to help you remember a reading for tutorial, seminars, or to revise for exams. So so get to survey a text. You know that survey is just having a broad understanding of a subject. So before you start to read, survey the material to gain an overview of the content. Approach a reading by scanning the title, subheadings, or any summaries or abstracts. Doing this will help you to gain an idea of the many idea of or topic of the piece. You may also find that you will get some ideas of the author's position. So that is survey. You are just generally going through the whole subject to just be able to understand that you just gain deeper, or not really deeper meaning, but just an overview or a general meaning of the whole subject of the topic. So we are saying this is SQ and then three R's. So now let's look at the Q. So S is survey. What of the Q? So Q is questions. So your reading will be more memorable if you question the material. Ask yourself what the lecturer or tutor say about the chapter or subject, and then devise questions that will guide your reading. So think about specific questions that you need to or would like to find